Hey everyone, we're here with the 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid Premium Plus in a gorgeous soul red crystal metallic paint finish, unique 19-inch wheels, and of course this Toyota-derived hybrid powertrain shoved into the CX-50's chassis. Of course, these are built in the Mazda Toyota joint production facility in the United States. This is a pretty unique vehicle. The driving dynamics are very different than a gas CX-50 as there is no physical connection between the front and rear wheels. These are driven by electric motors back here, gas engine, and one electric motor up there. Let's hop inside, take it on a drive. Of course, definitely make sure to check out our full tour and review for all of the in-depth details of this vehicle, but let's power it up. It starts up silently in this particular version because we are a hybrid here. We have an EV mode as well for very low speed, battery electric only driving. It's not a plug-in hybrid vehicle, so we're not going to get a lot of EV range in that sense, but it can still do some low speed maneuvers in that way. No 360 cameras even on this Premium Plus model, which is a little bit disappointing. Also no heated steering wheel, but we do have ventilated and heated seats. No paddle shifters up here, but we do have a sport mode for this eCVT and 3 drive modes from trail, normal, and full power modes as well. We have around 219 horsepower in this particular vehicle, but of course it's a hybrid. It's meant to be getting better fuel economy than the just pure gas CX-50 models. But the real interesting stuff here is that you're getting a Mazda vehicle, so you're getting that Mazda steering experience, the Mazda chassis driving performance in terms of suspension with that Toyota hybrid powertrain under the skin over here, which is really interesting of how it makes this vehicle handle on the road, which we'll get to in just a second. I love how we still have a normal shifter here, so we can pop it into drive. Like I showed you, reverse. We have just a reversing camera back there. No digital rear view mirror as well, but let's head off. And I guess we're in the EV mode right now. You can hear those electric motors purr away. There are 3 electric motors in this vehicle, as is common with the Toyota hybrid transaxle system here. Doors automatically lock. Love this nice leather steering wheel, and Mazdas always have a great driving position. Now, this is an interesting vehicle to drive because Mazdas are all about a more spirited driving feel, driving performance, and honestly, the CX-50 in that sense is the best vehicle in its class for that type of driving. It offers really great steering, an incredibly well-tuned suspension. It's very soft but also firm at the same time, and it really does a great job at soaking up bumps. It doesn't reiterate those into the cabin at all, which is really nice, but also giving you a almost German car-like stance on the road. It's really cool. But this hybrid system totally rearranges how this car drives on the road. It's a little bit heavier. The weight balance is also offset a bit. So you have a Toyota engine up front instead of a Mazda engine, and that battery pack out back, which is a unique situation there. So weight is up a little bit, but there's also no physical connection, like I mentioned, between that front engine and those rear wheels. There's only the electric motors out back. So when you are on it going through corners, you definitely feel this car kind of dives into corners a little bit too much more than a normal CX-50. That's just, I think, due to this imbalance of weight here that the CX-50 I don't think it was originally designed for from the ground up. So that's why I say I'm really excited to see the upcoming all-new CX-5 Mazda has been teasing with their in-house developed hybrid system, which I think is going to pair a lot better with Mazda's chassis, their suspension, as well as steering. But this is a really unique vehicle in the sense that it still has a lot of those great components, just feels a little bit more different than if you're used to a CX-50 with the turbo engine or the gas engine. Those Mazda engines, it will feel a little bit different to you, so don't be surprised on that front there. But around town, this is a wonderful vehicle to drive around. The electric motors are very quiet and smooth. You still have that nice steering feel from the CX-50 as well, which I really appreciate. Lots of great visibility all around you. And of course, everything is very easy to touch and use. You have your Mazda controller over here for your infotainment system as well. That's easy to use. You have Apple CarPlay. And of course, the power isn't bad. I was afraid this was going to be a low-powered hybrid, but around 220 horsepower, I think, is a perfect middle ground between the around 190 horsepower entry-level versions of the CX-50 and the higher horsepower up to 250 horsepower versions you find in the turbocharged versions. And it's a really nice, kind of quieter driving experience around town. And this is where you can really take advantage of the hybrid system. You don't need to have the engine on all the time. Just kind of cruise around in the electric motors, regen, gain that battery charge back up, and really that's where you're going to see that near 100+ mile boost of range you're going to get in this vehicle versus the typical gas CX-50s, thanks to just it being more overall efficient of an experience. I just wish Mazda would kind of include more hybrid gauges or stuff. I'm a big fan of seeing what's happening with my system, and other than this little physical gauge here, we don't really have much other than just seeing a live fuel efficiency status up there as well. So not too much in terms of those kinds of gauges in this vehicle. That would be something I'd like to see maybe in that CX-5 hybrid we would see down the road. Mildly configurable center console cluster over here, not too much there. We can have our safety screens there, but that's pretty much about it. Very simple, easy to use stuff in the Mazda does latest interiors and everything, but still very quiet of an experience in here. We also have that S mode and that power mode, so let's pop it into power and see how that changes this drivetrain performance at all. And we get up to speed there. Now you have to remember, this is not a turbocharged engine for starters, and it's also not a regular gearbox. This is a eCVT transaxle style transmission here. So what that means is that there's an electric motor sandwiched in between this kind of a CVT style transmission paired to that front gas engine, and those are powering the front wheels independently of the electric motors at the rear wheels. So it's definitely a unique experience, I would say, especially going into corners. Like I mentioned, you can kind of feel a little bit more wheel spin, a little bit more power going to those front wheels than the rear electric motors, and that's definitely a big change versus a normal CX-50 with the gas engines and that more full-time style all-wheel drive system you get on those vehicles. Now, going around corners, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to notice the extra weight. It kind of leans a little bit more than normal CX-50. You still have a great control from the steering, great turn-ins still. Even with this little bit of a weight imbalance, I'm noticing its turning still is pretty good. Lots of grip from the tires, and you still feel pretty more planted than a lot of other vehicles in this class. So you have a lower center of gravity than things like a Toyota RAV4 or even a CR-V. So I really do appreciate that. That's another Mazda hallmark right there. This power mode, in all honesty, doesn't really do too much. I think it really just tries to deliver total system power at all times versus in the normal mode where it's trying to be a little bit more efficient. But you know, it still feels pretty much the same to me than in the normal mode. You just get a little bit more of a boost, I would say. Now, of course, putting your foot down in this car versus a normal CX-50, you're going to notice that eCVT. You may be buying a Mazda in the first place to get away from a CVT that other manufacturers offer, but you know, this is the only transmission they're offering right now, and they're hybrid. Hopefully the CX-5 hybrid with Mazda's in-house system will try to use either like a dual clutch or an 8-speed automatic blended with electric motors in that front. Brakes are really strong on the CX-5. That has not changed in CX-50 here, and that has not changed over the regular versions of the CX-50, so I do appreciate that here. So overall, the general driving experience is pretty similar, very familiar. So if you're coming out of one of those vehicles into the hybrid, you're going to be very familiar with all that kind of feeling situations there. It's really just that CVT experience where there's no gears to be shifted here whatsoever. Out here on the highway, again, really quiet and comfortable in here. I always appreciate the CX-50's quietness on their cabin. This is definitely something I've noticed compared to a Subaru Forester, for example. They've definitely improved their quietness levels on the highway, but it's still a little bit louder, I've noticed, in those vehicles than in some of these newer Mazdas. And this Premium Plus particular trim is a little more better with sound insulation as well. These thicker, chunkier tires, I believe as well, are also helping reduce road noise. I did note on the Turbo Premium Plus version of the CX-50 with the very large wheels and thin profile tires, you definitely got a little bit more road noise coming in here. So I think this is a good tire and wheel combo for this particular vehicle. And out here on the highway, of course, we have radar adaptive cruise control, as well as automatic wipers as well. It's starting to rain a little bit, but we can turn on our radar adaptive cruise control via this touch of a button here, and that is set. We have our speed and distance control on the right hand side of the steering wheel here, but we don't have the full steering assist or traffic jam assist you can get on other Mazdas, and I have definitely experienced that before. It works pretty well. I'm just a little bit disappointed that you can't get that on this particular one, which is the top trim of the hybrid. I believe you can get it on the CX-50 Turbo Premium Plus, just not this one, and it's definitely available on other Mazdas as well. So interesting packaging Mazda has chosen to do with this hybrid CX-50. We'll see how that plays out over time. time. But otherwise, the system works pretty good. You just always have to have your hands on the wheel. You do have that lane keep assist where it'll kind of pogo stick you back in between the lanes and give you a little vibration, but it's not going to keep you totally centered in the center of the lane at all times. I do like the nice graphics we have on the heads-up display as well. It's nice that this vehicle does have that pretty crystal clear, and it's nice right in your line of sight, right with the kind of plane that this infotainment system is on, so you're never really straying your eyes too far off of the road, which is a great safety feature right there. And we can check to see how we're doing on our MPG right now on this current drive, around 27.8. We haven't been too efficient. We've been kind of testing some acceleration stuff, but over the course of this week, it's actually been quite good. We've started out with around almost 500 miles of range, and we still have over half a tank and almost around 300 miles as well. So it's really good in terms of being an efficient vehicle. So I think over long term, this definitely will be saving you a little bit more money than a regular CX-50, and especially over the CX-50 Turbo, which is which likes to use premium fuel, even though you can use regular, but it could cost you a little bit more at the pump, as the MPG numbers are in the 20s more often so than this vehicle, but you're going to see numbers in the high to mid 30 range on a daily basis, which is pretty nice. But overall, guys, this is a pretty compelling new option, I would say, in this segment right now. There's a lot of hybrids coming into this segment right now. Some manufacturers still don't offer hybrids, such as the Nissan Rogue. That's still only a gas engine only vehicle, but I'm glad Mazda was able to even make this one particularly possible, as Subaru, as we see right in front of us, is a Subaru Forester, is also using a Toyota hybrid system, though they're still keeping that mechanical engine set up between the front and rear wheels with that Subaru Boxer engine. So this is a little bit more of a cut and paste style situation. That one's just kind of using some components from the Toyota parts bin as well. But I think this still works really well. You still have the nice dynamic feeling of the CX-50 with that added efficiency of this hybrid powertrain. But like I mentioned, I am personally more excited to see what Mazda's going to be able to do on their own end in that upcoming CX-5 hybrid, and hopefully that will be stuffed into this vehicle down the road as we see some updates come along there. Overall, guys, this has been a great week with the CX-50 hybrid. I think pricing's pretty decent. You know, this one is fully loaded at around 42 grand, but these start in the mid 30 range, and at that price point, I think this is a really compelling option versus some of the other vehicles in this class. You're offering a much more premium, I think, feel of your interior, a great, one of the best, I think, class-leading driving experiences out of this range of vehicles as well. And overall, I think it's one of the best looking as well. But you know, there's a lot of opinionated things there, but I'll let you guys leave that out in the comment sections below. And as always, thank you guys for joining me on yet another video over here at Allcarnews. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us for more coming soon. Cheers.